Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new Pokemon TCG video. Today guys we're going to be taking a look at a deck revolving around the Excadrill with the Omega Barrage Ancient Traits ability. Really do like this little guy. He could dish out a massive amount of damage and both of his attacks are actually very solid, which is not really the case for Medicham for example. Dredge can actually be used to look at our deck for any energy cards and then attach them to our Excadrill. So although the Mac Claw attack does require a total of 3 energy cards, with Dredge, if we only have a single energy card, that's more than enough for us to actually be able to attack, which is quite nice, something that I absolutely like about the Excadrill. Now the Mac Claw attack unfortunately only dishes out 50 damage, so to try and perform those big EX knockouts, we are going to be running it in combination with cards such as the Muscle Band. So in Muscle Band, we would be able to attack for 70 damage twice, so that's 140 damage, or the Silver Bangle would be able to hit for 160 damage in a single turn, and we're also going to be using it in combination with a Verbank City Gem to allow for 3 additional poison damage counters in between turns, as well as, of course, the Hypnotoxic Lasers. So with this, our Excadrill can easily perform those big knockouts, and not only that, what I like about Excadrill is that he's a stage 1 Pokemon as opposed to the Nidoqueen with the Omega Barrage trait, and he has 110 HP, so more HP than Medicham, and is only a stage 1 Pokemon as opposed to a stage 2 Pokemon like Nidoqueen. Also, I gotta mention guys that the fact that our Excadrill is a steel type Pokemon gives us a huge type advantage, especially against fairy Pokemon. Fairy Pokemon are absolutely rampant right now. I've encountered a whole bunch of them, and Excadrill seems to be the perfect solution to actually pretty much eradicate fairy type Pokemon. So really am liking this Pokemon, guys. Also, the other stadium card that I want to briefly discuss, we are running a single copy of the Steel Shelter. Reason we're running Steel Shelter is because our first of all, we're running a full line of essentially Steel-type Pokemon, except for our Drillburs, which eventually do evolve into the Excadrill though, but still Shelter, in case we do happen to be affected by some sort of status condition, we can easily lay it down and then prevent our Pokemon from actually taking, say, poison damage or anything like that. Works especially well against Seismitoad EX decks. Now, since we are only running a single copy of Steel Shelter, we have some cards to try and fetch it out. So, for example, we are running Teammates. If any of our Pokemon do happen to get knocked out, for example, we can use Teammates to grab a Steel Shelter or something else in case that is what we are planning on doing. Iskyla will allow us to grab any item cards in our deck. Again, can be quite useful, especially if you want to grab that Steel Shelter and the computer search as well. So, I mean, despite the fact that we are only running a single copy of Steel Shelter, shouldn't be too big of an issue, given the fact that it's sort of a secondary stadium card for us, anyways. And Verbank City Gem is going to be our main stadium card. Now discussing some of the other Pokemon that we are going to be running in our deck, we're going to be running a total of 2 copies of the Bronzong. With its Metal Links ability, it'll allow us to power up our bench Pokemon. Steel Pokemon in general tend to have some pretty heavy attack costs typically, so Bronzong with its Metal Links is going to be very useful with respects to allowing us to recycle those energy cards and then start powering up our benched Pokemon. Speaking of other Pokemon, guys, a Pokemon that has a relatively large time it takes to actually be able to use this deck is going to be our Cobalion EX's Steel Bullet attack. Can be quite solid depending on certain types of situations. Can essentially is not affected by things as weakness, resistance, or anything else. So pretty nice. So we are running a single copy of the Cobalion EX. We're also going to be running Cobalion. Energy Press can be very potent against Pokemon, our opponent's Pokemon that have a lot of energy cards attached to them, and Iron Breaker can be nice in just preventing our opponent's active Pokemon from being able to attack us. So Cobalion, pretty nice and flexible Pokemon. We are including a single copy of him. And the last Pokemon that we're including, guys, in our deck is going to be the Age/EX with its Mighty Shield ability. Probably one of the best Steel type Pokemon currently out. Mighty Shield is very potent, especially against decks such as say Genesect EX, for example, which requires Plasma energies, or the Seismitoad EX, which requires Double Colorless energies. I mean, a lot of decks that you guys are going to encounter require some sorts of special energies, and Mighty Shield is there just to make life a little bit more difficult for our opponents. So we are running a single copy of our H/EX. Now, to discuss some of the item cards that we're running, guys, we are running an escape rope and a switch. Reason being, most of our Pokemon have some pretty heavy retreat costs, and of course they're very nice to have in case we are inflicted by some sort of status condition, for example. So we are including a single copy of Switch and Escape Rope. We are, of course, including 4 Hypnotoxic Lasers, a single Starling Megaphone. This is pretty much for our Bronzong's Metal Link's ability in case we get Garbodor shut down. Again, we don't really see that much Garbodors though, but Starling Megaphone is nonetheless a very nice card to run in case we want to get rid of muscle bands on our opponent's active Pokemon, Heart Charms, anything like that. Starling Megaphone is there for us, so we are running a single copy of that. Some of the other cards that we're running, guys, you guys are quite familiar with. So we're running 3 Ultra Balls, 2 VS Seekers, 1 Colress, 2 Lysanders, 4 Ants, 3 Junipers, a Professor Birch, and a Skyla, as well as a Teammates. I'm briefly going to discuss our energies. So we are running a total of 8 Metal Energies, and we're also going to be running 4 Shield Energies. This works exceptionally well with our Excadrill. Reason being is that when we do use the Dredge attack, we can look for any energy cards and attach them to our Excadrill. This includes special energies. Shield Energy is a special energy, and it can insulate our Excadrill to the point where he could be quite menacing even as a Stage 1 Pokemon. So we are going to be running a total of 4 copies of that. Guys, do pay attention though that our Bronzons will not be able to recycle our shield energies, but nonetheless, I think it's a very worthwhile card to run. So I highly do recommend you guys do run it, especially if you are planning on building an Excadrill type deck. So that is pretty much the basic deck breakdown, guys. So with that being said, let's go right ahead and see what this deck can do in action. Again, I've been pleasantly surprised by how well it's been performing. Much better than a Nidoqueen Omega Barrage deck that I've been testing out. Also, the fact that Excadrill is a Stage 1 Pokemon makes him exceptionally appealing to me. Also, his type, especially because we've been seeing a lot of Fairy type decks out there at the moment, makes Excadrill just that much more of a potent sort of Pokemon. So let's see what we're actually starting off with. So let's go and lay down the Drillbur as our active Pokemon and the Bronzor as our bench. I may have to use the Colress, but I'm hoping I'm not using it just yet. Awesome, looks like we do have the Professor Birch's Observation coming in to save the day. I'm actually going to go and lay down a Burbank City gym. Hopefully we're able to draw onto a Hypnotoxic Laser, and let's see what we get. Unfortunately, a Tails, and I'm just going to go right ahead and attach a Steel Energy to our Drillbur, and with that we are going to go and end our turn. On our turn, I will be using the Computer Search to discard our Colress and another one of our cards. Hopefully, we're to grab onto a Juniper. Hopefully, we don't get item locked. Seismitoad EX extremely annoying, and he can also make use of the Burbank City Gem. So maybe I should not have laid it down just yet. Our opponent is going to use the N, and again, hopefully our opponent's Seismitoad EX doesn't come out. Okay, so it looks like it's not going to come out, so I'm assuming our Drillbur will be able to survive, which is quite nice. I am happy about that, and I'll probably be using the N on our turn. Okay, so our opponent's actually going to attach an energy to his Yveltal EX, so let's actually go and evolve our Pokemon into the Excadrill. Now, Yveltal EX is able to dish out 20 damage per energy cards attached to our Excadrill. So what I'm thinking right now is that if I'm looking for the shield energies, just going to quickly do some math and see if we would get knocked out. So 100, 120 damage, and then we're insulated a little bit. We should be able to survive an attack unless our opponent actually gets a double colorless energy. I think it's actually going to be better for us to look for the regular metal energy. So that is what we're actually going to be doing, guys. So let's go and attach a muscle band to our Excadrill, use the N, and get some new cards in hand. Okay, and then we're gonna go and lay down a Drillbur, get rid of that muscle band attachment to our opponent's Seismitoad EX. Yeah, before we do happen to get item locked, for example. And I believe I played down the Bronzor on our first turn, so I could absolutely give up the Steel Energy and a Lysander to look for. Yeah, you know that is what I'm gonna do, guys. So let's go and grab onto our Bronzong and start powering up our bench Pokemon. So let's go and evolve. Use the Metal Links to actually look for a Steel Energy and attach it to our Cobalion EX, especially if our opponent is running any special energies. This is going to come in handy. Let's go and attach the Metal Energy. Okay, I actually can't lay it onto our Drillburs just yet, unfortunately. So I actually should have used that our tech to actually have attached it to any of our drillbers, but that's okay. Let's go right ahead and attach a special energy to our Cobalion EX as well. Let's use the dredge to look for 2 regular metal type energies, so our Bronzong special ability can also be used in case our Excadrill does happen to get knocked out, and then hit that Yveltal EX for 70 damage. Unfortunately, not enough to actually knock him out, but still nonetheless a pretty heavy attack. And we should be able to get rid of him on our next turn, provided our opponent doesn't actually retreat and bring out an Yveltal EX, for example. So it looks like we are going to get Headringered, which is actually nice because, I mean, we did attach 2 energy cards to him, so we are nonetheless still able to use the Righteous Edge attack, so that's quite nice. And, okay, so our opponent has just used the Juniper, giving up a whole lot of cards. Hopefully we're able to draw onto one of our supporter cards, and awesome, looks like we did just top deck into the end, quite happy about that. Okay, so let's go and lay down another Excadrill, and we will be attaching a shield energy to him. So now we'll be able to get rid of that Yveltal, and I think I'm actually going to go and lay down the Muscle Band on our Excadrill again in case we happen to get item locked, for example. So let's go and use the Macla, knock out that Yveltal, and then draw onto our first prize card. And let's see who our opponent is actually going to bring out. So it looks like it's actually going to be the Darkrai EX. So let's go and use Macla once again, hit that Darkrai EX for 70 damage. So on our next turn, we're either going to be bringing out our Cobalion EX or our Excadrill, sort of depending on the situation. Cobalion EX may actually be a pretty solid option as well. Unfortunately, our Excadrill is going to get knocked out though, and we could use the Dredge. I mean that Yveltal EX is unfortunately quite devastating due to his Evil Ball attack, and our Excadrill does require a total of 3 energies to actually be able to use Mac Claw. So we'll see what should actually be the wisest choice. Okay, our opponent's actually going to shuffle around his energy, so let's actually I could bring out the Cobalion EX and then use the escape rope. Okay, just thinking guys what I would actually like to do. So let's actually bring out the Excadrill for now and see where I would like to go from here on out. Okay, so we do have 3 of our energy cards in our discard pile now, so Bronzong can be used with respects to that. And I'm actually going to use the Colress. I think a Lysander. I could Lysander out our opponent's Darkrai EX, possibly his Seismitoad EX as well. Just thinking, guys, what I would like to do. So you know what? Okay, let's actually use the switch. I'm assuming our opponent's going to bring out his Yveltal EX potentially, and then we could actually get rid of his attachment through the of his special energy through using our Righteous Edge attack. I could also Lysander him out as well in case that is what I wanted to. Okay, so he's actually going to bring out his Yveltal. I'm still nonetheless going to be Lysandering out that Yveltal EX. So let's actually go and grab out the Lysander, and then we're going to go and use the Metal Links to attach a Steel Energy to our Excadrill, because I do want to be able to use the Mad Claw attack. And then let's go right ahead and lure out that Yveltal EX, get rid of his double colorless energy, and now I don't think any of our opponent's Pokemon will be able to attack. I mean, if he wants to retreat that Yveltal EX, he's going to have to attach an energy to him to actually be able to use Darkrai EX's Night Spear attack. So, I mean, our opponent could potentially attack if he has the switch, which he does. So now he's actually going to be able to hit our Cobalion EX for quite a lot of damage. Our Righteous Edge attack, though, could discard our opponent's double colorless energy, which could be a nice option as well. And if I could somehow power up our Yveltal, our Excadrill, if I could get a, okay, so our opponent's actually going to get the Verbank City Gym, so we could actually knock out our opponent's Yveltal EX on our turn. And yes, so we will actually be able to knock out our opponent's Yveltal EX. That's fine. He wants to knock out our Cobalion EX. We're gonna go right ahead and knock out his Yveltal EX as well. Oh, actually, I just realized that we don't have another Steel Energy to our Excadrill EX. Okay, so let's actually go and use the Colress. I was going to grab the Skyla to look for a Hypnotoxic Laser, but I forgot. Unfortunately, our Metal Links ability only allows us to attach energy cards to our bench Pokemon, so let's go right ahead and use the Colress. And awesome, looks like we've just gotten what we needed. So let's go and attach a Shield Energy to our Excadrill, poison our opponent's Yveltal EX, and then we will be able to knock him out. Use the Metal Links to attach a Metal Energy to our Drillbur, and then let's go right ahead and knock out that Yveltal EX for a massive 170 thanks to that poison damage, and we will be able to draw onto 2 of our prize cards. So I mean, given the fact, guys, that we are doing this well against an Yveltal EX deck, I would say that Excadrill is indeed a very menacing Pokemon for anyone to really deal with. I'm not all that keen on using our Junipers because we have a whole lot of important cards such as our Verbank City Gyms. But I may just have to resort to using it. Don't really want to be using the N and potentially helping out our opponent as well. And that Yveltal is only able to hit out our Excadrill for a mere 10 damage right now. So let's actually go and attach a okay, right, I actually can't use that just yet. So okay, so let's go and attach a regular Steel Energy to our Drillbur, and then we're gonna go and use the Juniper. I think, yes, I think I'm actually gonna have to go right ahead and use the Juniper. Luckily, we still have the Bronzong with the Metal Link, so hopefully discarding those energies shouldn't be too big of a hit for us. And okay, awesome. So we have just drawn onto some pretty cool cards. Ultra Balls, things like that. So let's actually go and use Metal Links to attach a Metal Energy to our Excadrill. Again, I do want to get him prepared before we actually bring him out. So let's go and use the Ultra Ball, discard another Ultra Ball and our Switch as well, and look for another Excadrill so that we can have him ready to go. And I mean, as long as we can get a Muscle Band, for example, using our computer search, we should be able to knock out any of our opponent's EX Pokemon with a single attack. So let's go and get rid of that Yveltal, hit him twice with our Mac Claw attack, and then draw onto one of our prize cards. Again, we should be able to win, so that Yveltal EX is going to come out. If we don't get End, we should be able to win on this turn, guys. And our Excadrill may even be able to survive an attack with his shield energies. Okay, so our opponent does have the Muscle Band, and let's see if he actually has another energy. He may just have to retreat for his Seismitoad EX or something. Looks like the game is going to be more so in our favor though. Okay, so our Excadrill is going to get knocked out, but nonetheless we are able to win, guys. Really hope that you guys did enjoy this video. I mean, I love the power of our Excadrill, so let's go and use the computer search to get rid of an N and a Metal Energy, and let's actually grab out the Silver Bangle, hit our opponent for just a little bit more, and possibly annoy him, you know, why not? And then let's go and poison him, and then go for a final massive knockout. Again, if you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to hit. Okay, our opponent's actually gonna give up. Wow, that's ridiculous. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And with that being said, guys, I will see you guys next time.